I work at Eating and Behavioral Health Associates, and I'm also recovered from my own eating disorder. So I don't have fancy slides for you tonight, but we'll just jump right in. So for me, being able to be here tonight is something that I never would have thought possible. Not because I didn't believe in recovery, but because I never believed I had a right to exist. My story, like so many other people, doesn't begin with an eating disorder. It begins with messages. Messages that said you were an accident, you were damaged goods, appearances matter more than pain, food is control, mental health does not matter as long as you look good. Those messages became anorexia, they became bulimia, they became secrecy, shame, and silence. There are two very distinct moments in my life that I think changed everything with my eating disorder. Not because they created the eating disorder, but because they taught me how to survive. The first was the death of my father. Grief didn't come gently or easily. It didn't wait for permission. It consumed space in my body where words had never been allowed to live. No one taught me how to grieve safely, so my eating disorder stepped in and offered me control. Restriction gave me numbness, purging gave me release, control gave me something that felt predictable in a world that suddenly did not. The second moment was rape, and I want to be very clear, what happened to me was not my fault. But the messages I got were very familiar. Your body is disgusting, you should have known better, keep it quiet, move on. So I survived the way many survivors do. I stayed quiet. And then, when trauma is silenced, it really doesn't disappear. It expresses itself through the body. For me, that expression was my eating disorder. And I became very good at looking okay. And then treatment came into the picture. And if you've ever been to treatment, you know this. There's the brochure version and the real version. And they're not the same. I learned that recovery is supposed to go in order. Inpatient, residential, partial hospitalization, intensive outpatient, outpatient. Mine did not. I learned that treatment is supposed to feel safe. Mine often felt terrifying. I learned that weight restoration was sometimes measured more than trauma was explored. That movement could be punished, that your family contacts could disappear, and that a client voice can get lost in the process. And when my journey didn't look linear, I believed there must be something wrong with me. But here's what I know now. There was never anything wrong with me. There was something incomplete and incorrect about the linear system. And then insurance taught me other messages. You are covered until you aren't. You are approved until you aren't. You can choose, except you can't. I was assigned treatment centers and programs, and I was denied time and time again. I was lucky on round 5. Lucky. No one seeking life-saving care should have to depend on luck. Because access to care should not depend on your bank account, your zip code, your employer, or your ability to fight an insurance company while malnourished. And this is what Project Heal knows. After years of recovery, I decided that I was now going to survive and give back. I dove health first into advocacy. I ran online support groups across the country before virtual care was even a thing. I spoke at conferences about client choices. I built websites that link eating disorder professionals to other eating disorder professionals. Advocacy became my whole world. And here's something we don't talk about often enough. When your identity becomes recovery, recovery becomes work, and you can lose yourself all over again. I lost time with my husband, with my family, with the parts of me that loved art and music and gardening and joy. Burnout is real, even in recovery, sometimes especially in recovery. 20 years into recovery, after exposure to tuberculosis and the death of someone I cared about very deeply, I relapsed. And let me tell you, it shook me to my entire core. 20 years of recovery does not guarantee empathy, not from the field, not from your family, not from your own inner voice. But 20 years to teach me something powerful. It taught me how to ask better questions, how to vet programs, how to fight insurance differently, and how to choose a team that spoke to me with dignity. Words mattered. Judgment is not clinical care, and relapse is not failure. And grief, when metabolized, can deepen our capacity for joy. And then, the world shut down. During the pandemic, isolation became the norm. The very thing eating disorders thrive on suddenly became unavoidable for so many people. And we began hearing from individuals across the country who were struggling, who had lost access to care, who were alone in their thoughts and in their fears. So my husband and I did what recovery has taught us to do. We showed up. Through our nonprofit, Body Image Betrayal and Related Issues, we began hosting online support groups for people across the country who were struggling with eating disorders and mental health challenges during the pandemic. Week after week, strangers logged in from living rooms, bedrooms, kitchens, hospitals. Many of them had never spoken their story out loud before, and something remarkable happened. Those strangers became a community. People began supporting each other, encouraging each other, and reminding each other that they were not alone. In a time when the world felt incredibly disconnected, these groups became a small reminder of something powerful. The connection in itself is medicine. And recovery grows stronger when people are brave enough to show up for one another. Today, I work at Eating and Behavioral Health Associates in Columbus, Ohio, where my role focuses on building community partnerships, helping doctors, psychologists, nurses, and medical staff recognize eating disorders in their clients and help them to refer those clients to outpatient care. I also help people navigate higher levels of care. I help clients choose programs, fight insurance, find scholarships, ask better questions, and trust their voice again. Because I remember what it felt like to not have a voice. My lived experience doesn't make me better than anyone in this field, but it does make me fierce. It makes me unwilling to accept that that's just how it is. It makes me believe deeply in collaboration over competition. And that belief led to the creation of the Columbus Eating Disorders Roundtable. The Roundtable is a place where providers, advocates, organizations can come together to protect territory less than they protect people. Through the Roundtable, we help individuals find care that accepts their insurance, care that actually has availability, and care that is best fit for them. The Roundtable offers free education seminars once a quarter so that all levels of providers in this community can get the education they so desperately need. Because recovery requires community. One thing I've learned over and over again in this journey is that no one heals alone. Recovery requires community. Eating disorders thrive in isolation. They grow louder in secrecy. They convince you that you are the only one struggling. But recovery begins the moment it sits beside you and says, you don't have to do this alone. For me, that support looked like so many things. It looked like a physician who for 38 years has never once given up on me, not in my hardest moments, not in my relapses, and not when the road felt impossibly long. It looked like an incredible dietitian who has walked beside me for 33 years of challenges, helping me rebuild trust with food, with my body, and with myself again. No matter what my body threw at me, stroke, TIA, menopause, she was there to walk beside me. It looked like friends who became family. People who stood beside me, no matter how hard I was, encouraging me, loving me, and reminding me that I am never alone. Holding my hands on the bad days, crying with me on the hard days, and laughing with me all the days in between. In the 39 years we've been together, my husband has been my strongest supporter. He has never stopped believing in my strength, even when I could not see it in myself. He is still and will always be the love of my life and my greatest supporter. Without him, I wouldn't be standing here today. I wouldn't have experienced trust and vulnerability, hope and healing and loss and grief, or any of the amazing adventures he so willingly takes on every year when we go on our anniversary. He is my everything, and I am so grateful that he is here. Support is not weakness. Support is infrastructure for healing. When people are surrounded by compassionate support, something extraordinary happens. Hope becomes sustainable. Recovery becomes possible. and people begin to believe that their life is worth fighting for. Project HEAL understands something revolutionary. Financial barriers are trauma. Being told no when you're seeking medical care is trauma. Navigating insurance while cognitively impaired is trauma. And when you remove even one barrier, you don't just fund treatment. You restore dignity, you restore choice, and you restore hope. If you're in this room tonight and you are early in recovery, decades into recovery, in relapse, or supporting someone you love, please hear me clearly. Your journey does not have to be linear to be real. Relapse does not relate to recovery. Advocacy does not require perfection, and you never have to prove your right to exist. You already do. My story began with messages that said, appearance matters more than mental health. You are damaged. You must prove yourself. Tonight, I choose different messages. You matter. Your voice matters. Your access to care matters. People stuck together. Your body is worthy of nourishment, and grief can coexist with joy. Your recovery can and will evolve. Together, through organizations like Project HEAL, through collaboration, through courage, and through community, we can build a world where no one has to depend on luck to survive. Thank you for letting me stand here tonight, and thank you for funding hope.